Well, let's bring in Isaac Hubert Arthur, who is the Executive Director of the Africa Center for International Trade and Development, as we look back at 1 year of AfCFTA. Happy New Year to you, Isaac. What's your assessment of the implementation so far?
Happy New Year to you, Darren, and also to all your viewers and also listeners as well. AfCFTA implementation for 1 year, the truth of the matter is that we are still far behind in terms of actualization, the practical gains of the AfCFTA. We are still, it's early days yet, and 1 year, of course, with COVID. And that's one thing we should bear in mind, that COVID came in to disrupt a lot of business activities. So AfCFTA, 1 year, we cannot lay our finger on a number of, companies that probably may have emerged, benefiting from the AfCFTA. But having said that, I would say, once the agreement itself is signed and countries are ratified, for now, we have about 38 countries that have, deposited their instruments of ratification. And we have about 43 countries that have also domesticated, the agreement. So you can see clearly the commitments of the African governments are there. Countries are willing, they accept and agree to the, the tenets of the AfCFTA. And as we continue to engage and deepen, the engagement, both politically and then also economically, you realize that we'll begin to see, I would say that maybe give AfCFTA maybe 4 more years, 5 years after trading under the AfCFTA had begun, we'll see practical gains. We'll begin
5
to
more
see
years.
Yes.
That's a long while. But you talk about the COVID-19 pandemic. Nobody expected the pandemic. And so, it was quite a setback. But beyond that, what are the other bottlenecks that need attention?
So, there has been the issue of, for instance, there's the issue of infrastructure that needs to be put in place. Countries, for us to be able to have a continental single market comparable to that of the EU, you need to have certain infrastructure in place, which enables, even the transportation of goods, the movement of people to be very less stressful, than it is. You can tell me, if I'm traveling to any part of Africa, sometimes I have to go through Asia before I get to Africa. If you move goods from Ghana to Nigeria, it may probably pass through Europe before it gets to Nigeria. This is not, a good system where it will fast track and help the speedy implementation of the AfCFTA. So that needs to be fixed. So infrastructure is key. We need to focus on how we can make, travel within the African continent less problematic than it is now. And, to achieve that is not an easy task. A lot of, initiatives needs to be put in place. A lot of, certain laws, agreements also needs to be signed, which will help in airlines must come together to understand the importance of the AfCFTA and what in their own way as an industry they can do to support the implementation of the AfCFTA, beyond even the infrastructure, which is a lot. I can't exhaust all. There's also the issue of the maritime, sector that we may have to talk about. There's the issue of the road transportation, even within ECOWAS. Look at how it is. Very problematic when you're moving within ECOWAS. You see, so all these things needs to be fixed. But then there are also other initiatives, other products, both financial and then also trade facilitation that needs to be put in place. And I'm happy within this 1 year, we've seen a number of positive news coming up. We have seen the introduction of the Pan-African payment settlement system. which is a platform that is going to help, the continent to make payment easy. We have so many currencies, and trading under one block with different currencies is also problematic. It makes it more difficult when you still have, a currency like the US dollar dominating in Africa. You see, it doesn't help and doesn't support even in the achievement of the AfCFTA objectives. So we need to put in place that.
And in just 1 minute, I'm just wondering, while we wait for 5 years to see the impact of this trade pact, wouldn't we lose steam? Because people want to look out for results in these kinds of things. So within the 5-year period, what are we doing?
Yes, I mean, if the fact that we are projecting that practical gains of the AfCFTA will be more evident and visible within 5 years or in the next 5 years doesn't mean that, trading stops. Trading is ongoing. Companies are encouraged to begin the process to, assess the benefit of the AfCFTA. So there are processes that needs to, as I speak with you now, I can tell you a number of African corporates that are looking to expand into other African countries. And that is why even the holding of the second Intra-Africa Trade Fair is key. Because to be able to enter foreign markets, other African markets, you need to, produce, you need to have what they call the trade and market information, which is a major challenge in Africa. It is readily available, you see. But the Intra-Africa Trade Fair, which was held in Durban in November, provides that platform where buyers and sellers from all countries come together, they share trade and market information. Now it becomes easier if you want to know where to get certain goods, certain products from which other African country. You can easily know that to get leather goods, maybe you need to go to either South Africa or you need to go to Ethiopia to get, so you can see that bringing the buyers and sellers together produce that kind of, the trade and market information that is needed. Because it becomes easier if Ghanaian businesses want to enter into any African market. They need to know what exists in the markets. Who are the competitors? What is the pricing mechanism? You need to have all these knowledge. So it's building, the process towards the actual gains. Once businesses have this information available, it makes it easier for them to make strategic decisions.
We have to go. Isaac, thank you so much. We'll continue to talk about AfCFTA. I'm sure it's going to be in the news. I appreciate that you gave us an optimistic outlook to the Continental Free Trade Agreement.